We live?
We are
Live? Are
We're
we live?
live.
Are we live? Are we live? Are
Hey
we
guys.
live?
we are
Hello.
live. Hey everyone.
What's up, everybody? It is November. Welcome to our live Q&A. How's everyone doing?
So good.
Doing well. Doing well.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
No complaints.
We're all
How you
back
doing,
in
Phil?
the same time zone.
We are in the same time zone. I am officially in Los Angeles.
Nice.
I'm getting so many emails reminding me that there's a live stream right now, and my calendar's going, and Sam texts me, and like there's just a million things.
We didn't want you to miss it, man.
I'm here. How are you guys doing? Phil, are you sick?
I'm getting over it. I was sick for really sick for 2 weeks in the middle of October, and it's just like this congestion every day since. So yeah, it kind of sucked because for my birthday I was actually supposed to go camping with the family,
You're
and we had
gonna
to
do
cancel that.
multiple camping trips, huh?
Yeah, so that, and then Halloween. We did have a fun Halloween with the kids actually, but it still, yeah, just I feel like October just kind of blurred by with everyone in our house being sick. So yeah, but I'm on the up and up. How's everyone doing? Let us know who's here. Bill, what's up? Barry, what's up? Thank you for being here. As always, let us know where you are tuning in from. And yeah, Sam chatted. If anyone's here for the first time, let us know. Happy to have you here. And thank you to everyone who submitted your photos to the contest. We have 463 entries. We're
There we go.
We're gonna go through and pick our favorites, and we'll probably be announcing that later in November. It just takes some time for us to get through all those photos, but yeah. Oh, very sorry you're sick. Bob, welcome. Shrimal, thank you for being here from Sri Lanka. Brian, what's up? Edwin from Ghana. Shrikant, first time here. What's up? So, any life updates, any photo updates, projects you guys are working on? Switch camera gears, brands, new cameras.
You go first, Sam. I got stuff to tell you, but go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, not too many changes. I've been doing a bunch of video work lately, and one exciting thing I've been working on a new website, so hopefully that'll be coming out soon. I switched back to Squarespace, which I'm pretty happy about. I like their interface, but it's been a whole thing of relearning the language of website creation and organizing photos, and sort of I'm trying a new approach of galleries based off of actual specific events kind of thing. So I don't know, switching it up, trying something different, which has been fun to go through all my work and sort of see what's in there. And then was actually just out in Arizona on a project, and just fell in love with the Q2 again, just sort of casual travel
Two
stuff.
or three?
Q3. I still call it a Q2 though. But had a wonderful conversation. The father of the place I was at is a photographer, very incredible photographer, and he had the iPhone 15, and he was just talking on and on about basically the benefit of the iPhone camera and the camera you have with you that is discreet, that doesn't call attention, and the images he was able to get with that camera, versus his other cameras. And it was fun to debate with an old photographer, because he had shot medium format film, he had shot all sorts of systems, and he's just like, oh, just iPhone's wonderful, it's all I need now.
I feel like in the past month, I've gotten asked by two friends who were asking for themselves, or friends, what's a good entry level camera? My budget's $200 or $500, and I'm like, at this point, if you have a smartphone from the past 5 years, there's nothing under $500 that I could recommend for a beginner to get started with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The images he got from that phone. I mean, he had photo books, but then he had like those images. It's like, this is, yeah. Like there really isn't a point. I don't see a point to, I don't know, if you can have a newer, smartphone, Pixel, iPhone, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like start there. And it's also, it's the difference of like, I don't know, if you're shooting professionally, of course, showing up with your camera, but if you're taking good photos, no one's going to know the difference. I mean, it's, yeah.
Especially for wide, street life, travel type stuff.
But now the newer ones, the freaking depth of field he was getting and the like handheld night exposure of the stars he got, and like, I don't know. It's even for some portraiture stuff, like it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
So you're going to show up at your next wedding shoot with your iPhone 15?
Yeah. This is
No, I still have my old iPhone, but I was
like going to keep using his iPhone
conversation. It was a fun
and not
conversation.
his $5,000 Leica.
Yeah. Will, what's up with you?
It's that time of year where I'm updating my website because cuffing season's happening, so a lot of people are asking about wedding photography, or they're about to. And then on top of that, what's cuffing season? You ever hear that?
Cuffing season? No.
A lot of people get engaged in the fall.
Really?
And into
I'm just
the
part
winter.
of a trend.
1,000%, yeah.
Damn it.
That's why everyone starts to redo your wedding websites and stuff, because everyone goes home for the holidays and they announce that they're getting married, and they look at wedding websites, they look at photographers, they look at everything you're going through right now.
Good to know.
Is pretty basic.
Just part of the same.
Oh.
We're just brainwashed into doing the same thing, Sam.
If you guys haven't seen, I updated the collections on my wedding website.
Oh, cool.
And so, Phil, I don't know if your wedding made it because I've shot so much since then.
That was a long time ago. I mean, the photos are great, but I think what you've shot since,
Yeah, I've grown.
even better.
What did you shoot Phil's wedding on?
I shot Phil's wedding on your Nikon D800 and another Nikon D800.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that, but I used your old. You let me borrow it because you were in the wedding.
Yeah, man, I miss that camera. That's a good camera.
But outside of that, I'm just doing a lot of family portraits. Phil and I are doing a big bunch of family portraits on Saturday for some locals.
Yep.
There's something else I wanted to tell you guys. Oh, Sam knows about this. In a couple of weeks, I'm doing a corporate headshot session where in 6 hours I have to shoot 90 headshots.
Wow, that's like a school photo day setup.
Yeah. So I'm going into a business, and they're just going to cycle through all their employees throughout the day, and I'm just going to,
Wow, they better be paying you more than just like an hourly rate. That's a lot of work for.
Yeah, they're paying my wedding hourly rate. So if any of you guys would like to ask me what that is, I'll tell you, but I'm not going to. But yeah, so that's the big photo gigs I have going on. I really need to clean my sensor, and I'm terrified of doing it.
It's not that bad.
I know you say that. You
just get the little brush thingy and you put a little moisture on it, and then you go.
Let's just say that I've done it myself with my XT4 because I've had a little spot for like 2 years, and I never like sent it in to clean. And like pretty soon after that, like I probably tried to clean it with one of those little brushes like 6 times, and it didn't come out. So I don't know what happened, but it didn't mess up anything else. It didn't get worse.
It didn't get worse. That's the goal, right? I think I normally take it to a local camera shop in Torrance, and the guy that does it for me is no longer there anymore. So I feel like I just need to do it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we've got a lot of people here. Adam, what's up? Posting some good questions. Rod, thank you for being here for the first time from Mexico City. Aaron, we've got a Facebook user asking questions. If you're on Facebook, head over to the YouTube page so that we can see your name, so we know who we're talking to.
And like this, and
hit that like button.
Do those things.
Should we answer?
Notifications.
There's 30 people here. We only got 9 likes. It's kind of like, do you not like us?
Before we get started with questions, I just wanted to mention something that I added to the Plus page, which joining our private membership is completely free to do. I added this live member chat. If anyone's here who has used it, let me know. But it seems like it's getting a little bit of engagement. But this is a new space in Plus where you can actually just like chat with people live. It's kind of like a Slack channel or Discord, whatever channel. I don't know what you call it. But yeah, it's kind of cool because if there's other members that are on, you can ask questions, hang out right on the platform. I think that's pretty much it for Plus updates, but I do want to pull up a question from Very that we'll launch with. Where is our live events? Right here. And this is where you get your reminders about all of our live events. So Very, who's here live, had a great question. And it looks like we got a couple other questions here. So the first one is about fisheye lenses and if we've tried using them for street photo cityscapes, if it's worth it. She found a super cheap one. Is it a good additional creative tool to have? What do you guys think?
I grew up shooting with fisheye lenses because I did skateboard stuff. I love fisheyes. I think they're awesome. I think they're super. I mean, I feel like the 90s, early 2000s was a big time for them for whatever reason, but it's a very specific look, of course. But I've seen people do just so many cool things with it, and especially, that question about the 4mm. That seems a bit on the extreme end, but the whole point is that it's an extreme look, I guess. I'd probably find a way to not include myself in the photos, but for some, maybe that's the look, that you have your feet and hands in the image as well. I don't know. I think it's a super fun thing. I think if you can find one to start that's on the cheaper end to see if you like it, because it's definitely like even more so than like shooting. Oh, I only shoot on Fuji glass or Nikon glass or whatever. It's way more extreme. It's like, oh, this is a fisheye shot and it's going to stand out. But with like some Krav Maga stuff of someone getting like, I don't know, thrown to the ground, or like you can just be so close. And then for street photography, of course, it's like, yeah, it's a really unique look. So I don't know. I think I'd love to see what you do with one, Very.
Yeah, I think
so long as it's,
yeah. I think super specific. That's the thing. But I think for Very to try it out, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's all about style. So like if that's the style you're going for, then yeah, I think it's great. It's gonna be fine. It'll be fun. It's not something I normally would use, but knowing how creative Very gets with stuff, I think it's a good thing for her to try.
Yeah. Her follow-up or another question was business related. Basically, when getting a contract for like use, I guess part of the question is what's the key points to include in the contract, but also like, is it okay to just have, if it's at an event, for example, and do you need 25 separate contracts, or can we have people sign the same contract if we like have like a list of spots for people to sign it? I'm not exactly sure the legality depending with the having multiple people sign it.
Typically, if it's for a company, and this is what I've done in the past, if it's for a company and it's at an event, and you're going to be just taking photos of the whole event and they're going to use it, either the people that have signed up for the event, there has to be a stipulation in whenever they signed up that says that a photographer will be present, will be using your images, or if it's at a gym, when they signed up at the gym, it should have something in there. Chances are they probably don't, but that's where they would put it. Outside of that, if there's a piece of paper or a sign, at least in America, if it's posted on the front door that says, today there will be a live photographer and we will be using all the photos from this event for promotion and stuff, If you don't want that to happen, do not enter. And it's kind of like a
yeah, it's like by entering the space, you consent to, yeah.
And there's things like that on, so you don't have to get individual, waivers. But I don't know if that works across the world.
Yeah, that is U.S. law, so it might be different.
Here.
Yeah, I would say if you know the group of people that are going to be there when you're doing it, having an individual contract that each individual has signed is by far the most secure way to do it. Probably the agreement with the actual space, and that the person who owns the space is agreeing to that, is like first and foremost most crucial. And then any images that you would be using, you could consent for. That being said, if you're, a lot of times in our contracts, there's an agreement that we can use any of our content for promotional material, like so for our own marketing. And that's different than I'm going to go take this photo and sell it and make money from it, and it has you as a person in it. Those are kind of two different things. One is like, it's just going to be online, it's to show my work, and another is I'm going to make money off of this thing that has you in it. So yeah, being able to get individual contracts is ideal, but also, if I don't know, maybe check with anyone that does events there that, hey, like, yeah, can you just do a posting at the front door and just get that general consent? I wouldn't do a contract with 25 signatures on it necessarily. I don't know. I've never done that, but
no, I wouldn't do it that way. Each one should have an individual one. Yeah.
All right. Hopefully that answered your question, Barry. We can follow up with more advice if you need more. We got some more questions though. So there was another question, Rain Phillips. If you're here, that was on Plus. We'll get back to that, but we'll answer some questions from people here in the chat. If you're live, if you have questions, go ahead and start posting them. Adam Hinckley asks, what's your formula on how to price your landscape and wildlife photography work? That's not something I've done.
That's a old question.
Yeah.
I'd say, is it to get paid to do it, or are you talking about prints, or are you talking about getting it online?
I'm guessing, let's answer if you were like printing them out and trying to sell them at like a farmer's market kind of thing, or a craft fair, that kind of, or online, I guess, selling prints that you sell off your website.
I have a buddy who, he's now become like, I don't know if he's an official Leica shooter, but he's like, come up, and he does a lot of street photography. And his mentality was he wanted to get his photos out in the world. He wanted people to have his photos on their walls. He wanted, as a way to connect. So he would do 8x10 prints, and he would just sell them for, $10, $20. I mean, it cost him $5 to print, so he's making $5. And he just did it like that to get it out there and as many people to want to buy it. And then he also had the option to do bigger prints, and he just adjusted accordingly. But I think the biggest thing is to know, how much will it cost you to print the photo in a quality you're happy with? And then how much do you put on top of that? I mean, putting it at $500 is like fine art level, and you're probably going to sell a lot less. But you might get someone that buys that. Putting it at $20, you'll probably get more people buying it. You're not going to make as much, but you'll get out there more and have your photo in more places.
I feel like that's a really tough question. It's like, there's certainly a formula you could probably figure out if this is your full-time gig and you're trying to make selling wildlife and landscape prints your full-time business, and you could kind of, backtrack from, okay, how much do you need to make a year to thrive or to survive? And how many prints are you selling right now? And how many do you have to sell per week? And figure that out. But I kind of feel like that's kind of probably unlikely that someone's doing that, Adam, if you're doing that right now. So like Sam said, maybe it's more about getting your work out there to start out. I would also if there's any other people in your area doing this, see what they are charging. I'm just thinking, like, there is a guy at our locals farmers market that I don't know what he charges, but that would be my first thing. Go see what he's charging and not undercut him or anything like that, but that can give you a benchmark.
There's a whole formula that we have in one of our classes that escapes me, and we should probably do our own video, but I have a formula somewhere that talks about the hours that you put into driving out to get a landscape photo, or the hours that you drive out to get a wildlife photo, in conjunction with like what you feel like your hourly rate is worth to you. And then in addition, the hours it takes to print photos and ship them, or if you're using a website that will do it for you, how much the raw materials are, and then taking all those numbers and then marking it up by 100%, 400%, 30%. And you know, finding, like what Phil says, what your market value is in the area that you're at. It gets pretty complicated, so I don't want to go deep into it right now, but finding out basically what your time is worth to you and how much that print is worth to you, and will it sell in your area. If you're selling them online, I just put a link in the description of my print shop. I'm now using a website called Printique, and I don't know how much I've talked about this with Phil and Sam yet, but I've redone my print shop and haven't announced it yet. I have a blog written about it that's supposed to post in the next week or two, but you can click on it, and in Printique, you upload your photos to it. It's connected to Squarespace, and then you can type in their website if you want to mark it up by 100%, 500%, and then they spit out how much you're going to make, how much it's going to cost to make the raw materials. They ship everything for you. They package it all for you. It's all automated. And so that is like a really good way to do it. But then I'm paying a fee to this website. So it's like, where are you going to do with your business, and what are you going to do with your prints and stuff like that? There's also a question, I think I'm jumping over some other questions, but because it's relating. When I do weddings and I put them on my Zenfolio, I also have a print list where they can send it to their guests. And it's the same thing. It's like marking up a percentage, which I mark way down compared to my fine art prints, because I want people to be able to buy like a 4x6 of the portraits I took of them or whatever. So, you know, there's a difference in both those sort of printing attitudes and business wise. It just depends on like Phil said, like, what is your job, and is it a side thing, a full thing, you know, all that. Yeah. I don't mean to keep long.
I do really think, you know, to Will's point, like, it takes a lot of time to print. Like, it's much more than just sending an edit that you've done digitally. And so knowing that, you know, what is your time worth and how much you're going to charge for that, so that you're not losing money necessarily. But across the board, whatever kind of photography you do, I would offer prints. I think, opposed to someone having, I mean, you can post on social media, friends will see it like that. You can share it on your phone, sure. But walking in someone's room or home and seeing a print, like, it's a talking point. It's going to get people discussing it, like bringing it to space. I don't know, doing, if there's local shops that you can, you know, print a series of photos, and a lot of coffee shops will each month sort of change out the photos that they're displaying. And I don't know, I think it's a really important piece of the puzzle to print your photos. And it's so cool to see them up like that. And someone said, you know, to also offer framing it and all that. And like, absolutely, if you can, for weddings especially, like, offer this like beautifully framed, nice, you know, mat around it, whole thing. But it's, again, that takes time. And so how much money can you charge before someone's like, well, I'm not going to pay $2,000 for that photo because you've, you know, marked it up that much. But
you just never know. Yeah, this reminds me, my cousin, he's a painter. He's an artist. He's younger than us, but he's really great. And he's had a couple prints in galleries, and one of them like asked him like, oh, can you put a price? Are you willing to sell your print or your painting? He's never done it before. He threw on $15,000 just for the heck of it. And it sold. And it was like his first print, his first painting, and it sold for $15,000. Wow. And it's like, sometimes you just got to put it out there, and maybe the right person's going to walk by and be moved by your painting or your photo.
For fine work, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or for fine art, like landscapes and that kind of thing. Like, you never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, go ahead, Will.
Yeah, there's just like a quick. I think Nancy said, "Is it worth offering your print sessions, like especially for family portraits and stuff?" She's only done digital. Again, I'm skipping some stuff, but we'll go back to it.
Yeah.
I don't offer it in the packages when I'm taking photos of families, but because I use Zenfolio, they offer the ability to order prints in the way I deliver the digital photos. So I do offer them, but they're like through the website, and it's not out of my control, but I set the prices and they can order them if they want, or they can just download them and go to Costco or go print them wherever they want if they want to. I always tell them like it's better to go through a professional print shop. It'll be a little bit more expensive, but it's worth it. So I don't offer it in the packages, but there is an option for it. But typically people tend to, take their stuff and go print them out themselves.
Yeah, I'd say that. Kind of a follow-up question going backwards. Brittany asked something about printing. So 2-part question. Did a family photo shoot. Some of the faces were dark, so they asked to do some face swaps. I posted a link to a tutorial I made, Brittany, about doing face swaps in, I think it's with Lightroom and Photoshop combined. So hopefully that helps. I'm like, is there a face swap feature yet in Lightroom? I don't think there is. I'm sure there's some AI tools out there that will do it. I know, like, I keep seeing the ads for the Google Pixel phone that now has it built into the phone that you can do it. So that's probably coming down the pipeline for Lightroom and stuff. I don't know. Does anyone know if any other photo editing apps have a quick face swap? Like click of a button thing, like in the chat. If there's a tool, maybe let us know. But the other question is just printing it at such a big size, 3 feet by 3 feet. The photo dimensions are here. My thought, and then I know Will and Sam, you probably have more detailed idea, is that I printed out a photo that Will did that it's on our fireplace mantle, and it's probably about 3 feet by 3 feet. It's great. I printed it on a canvas. I did a canvas print, which just kind of inherently it's not as sharp on a canvas, but it works well that way because it still looks really good. So even if you're printing something out that big, I think with your camera and those dimensions, it should be fine.
It will be fine.
But like it kind of depends on what format you're printing. It might not look as sharp on a canvas, but that's just the nature of printing on a canvas versus a nice kind of paper print, right?
Sam's looking at his 2 foot by 3 foot Q1 print that he printed.
I think it's a 3x4.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. And that is heavily cropped. And
yeah.
I mean, it's 24 or Q1 was 24 megapixel, but
but you cropped in on that.
I cropped it. It was like from the hip, it was all crooked and stuff. So I adjusted.
And you probably cropped down to what Brittany is asking,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what megapixel count your camera is. That alongside the pixel count make a difference. But the main thing I'd be concerned about is doing a 3 foot print with a face swap, and that you wouldn't see that line. Like you'd have to really go in and do some like pixel brushing to make sure where it's swapped that it really smoothly transitions, I guess.
You just got to make sure you do a good job because what Sam's saying, as soon as you blow it up, you're going to see every little imperfection.
Yeah. And to Phil's point, and just in terms of printing, you can print on so many different surfaces these days and so many different types of paper, whether it's matte, glossy, satin, metallic, canvas, fine art paper versus more traditional photo paper. They all absorb colors in ink differently. Something like a canvas, something like a fine art might be more forgiving because it's going to have more texture in it and soak in some of that, whereas like a high metallic or super glossy paper is probably not going to be the best option for something like that. And test print, I guess. You don't have to test print at 3 feet, but maybe do like a 17 by 24 to initially check it.
I mean, if you're upcharging a print for them, you could include a test print in that charge. So it's like, okay, so I'm charging them just $200 for the photo, and it costs $40 to print it. Like maybe charge them $240 so you can do a test print and make sure that the one you deliver is like perfect.
Yeah, so 26 megapixel and you cropped it, that you'll be fine in terms of printing the whole image. But yeah, it sounds like the starting point, if you are not able to bring out those faces anymore, would be to do the face swap and just dial that in. And once you do that, sort of feel how you're feeling about it. And
because if you see it on your computer and you can really tell, you're gonna see it on the print. So that's the first step, is like really get that done.
But it's worth it. It's so worth it. This is part of the process. This is the back end of photography that it really, I mean, figuring out this stuff and becoming comfortable in this language is so worth it, because having your photos printed, I think that's the best way to enjoy photography.
All right, I'm gonna bring up this question here that was in Plus, and it also ties to this question here, kind of. So this is a common question, starting out with photography, just a general, how to start making money from photos. Let's answer Rain's question first with the part about making money from photos and protecting them so they don't get used elsewhere without people getting paid for them, or without being paid for them. Any thoughts about that? Whoa, sorry.
You want to go first, Will?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because it's like, I guess like if you're just talking about how you're just starting photography and make money with my photos, and you're talking about landscape, it's kind of, we already talked about that with storm pics, like with that kind of photography specifically, either printing them and doing everything we just talked about and making money that way, or it sounds like those would be really great stock photo, photography, images. And so you want to get on a stock site and start selling them. I mean, when we talk about making money with photography, we have to talk about different genres. So if that's specifically that one, stock photography, great. As far as protecting them goes, I don't know. We've talked about this a million times before. Like, I'm avidly not down with, watermarks and stuff. I suppose if you're putting them on stock image sites, like maybe you should be watermarking them on your Instagram or something. But usually if people are going to take them, they're going to take them, and they're not going to take the full quality. They're going to take a screenshot that will look like junk if they print it. So it's not even like they're really like stealing the actual file. Most people taking your photos are just screenshotting them or reposting them somewhere. And there's really not much you can do about that outside of putting a giant, watermark on it, which kind of ruins a photograph for other potential actual purchasers. But most watermarks, it can be taken out.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are going the route of stock photography sites and you are trying to protect yourself, something you could do every now and then is a reverse image search, where in Google you can, upload your photo to the images search bar and see where that photo shows up. And it's hard to, know, did all those people pay for your photo? But I do know, because this has happened to me, where I had a photo on my website and I got sort of, you could tell it was like a canned email. I'm sure there's services out there that do this, where they look across the web. If a photo was used, and then they'll go out and contact that website owner or whoever's using it and confirm that they have the license to use it. So I had to like email them the license or whatever. This has happened where like there's photos on those free photo stock sites like Pexels or Unsplash, which were not supposed to be there, and I'm using it and I have to take it down. But there, that's a lot of work to be, I kind of, like Will said, I wouldn't worry too much about it. It just might happen, and I would just focus on more like the positive of getting your photo out there, selling it to people who actually want it. And want to pay for it.
I would also add into that, I know Lightroom at least, and I'm sure other photo editors, like in the metadata when you export, you can put your name, like the photographer's name, in the metadata. And that way for that original file, if you send it to clients, like it will be in there, and you will, if you do see it, like you can then take action after the fact. Alongside that, if you're just posting to social media or on your website or whatever it is, like especially your website, like don't make it that there's a choice within most websites to not make the images downloadable, and do them at a certain resolution that's only good for web and not good for printing. And of course, I mean, we're entering a new era of all this, because people can use AI to resize images now and make them, better quality just by, recalculating the pixels. So it's a bummer if that's a thing that happens, but also, I don't know. I think there's a lot more fear around it, and there's some of these fake Instagram accounts that just use a bunch of other people's photos and all this stuff, and that sucks. But if you're just getting started, I mean, like they said, like Phil and Will said, like focus on the art, get creative, work with clients. Really making money initially, it's a tough thing. I mean, you get a job one day and next day is not guaranteed. So just focusing on that for now is enough of a thing, I think, to be worried about.
I did post, I literally just typed in stock photo protection on Google, and this site called Pixsy, Pixsy.com, showed up as sort of a service that tracks your photos and sees if it pops up on other websites. So if you're really concerned about it, that might be something to check out. But yeah. Okay, that's not the comment I meant to bring up, but yes, I think this was in reaction to smartphones versus a regular phone. Yeah, for things like bird photography, wildlife, smartphones are not necessarily going to cut it. There was a question, that other question had a follow-up about making money, and then also lenses for wildlife, butterfly photography. Where was that question? Right here, and nature photography, or portrait, butterfly, nature. Is there a sort of focal range you would go for a lens that kind of covers those different types of photography, if you had to pick one lens?
Nikon used to make, and I don't know who does this still, but the 100 macro.
105.
Is a 105? Oh yeah. So that can double as a lot of those things, because you get the macro for the nature and the butterfly flower stuff, but you can also use it as a really great portrait lens. Although 105 is a little bit, you'd have to step back a bit.
Especially in the crop sensor.
Yeah, but if you're trying to combine, multiple worlds, a macro 105 would be great. Otherwise, it's you guys are getting into photography, as a painter would need different brushes for different parts of their painting. You might need different lenses for different types of photography. It's just our lenses are much more expensive than paintbrushes. So sometimes combining stuff is practical, but it's not always going to be your best artistic choice.
I would also say a 70-200
sure,
is kind of a more standard lens for most people's kits. You're not going to get, like Will said, the macro for butterflies or for those details in nature. You're going to get some otherworldly images with a macro lens. But a 70-200, I love it for portraits, and it's not the extreme end of bird photography or even some of these things, but you can get 200's still decently close focal range or zoomed out focal range to use. And that's sort of a more versatile, I don't know, you can use that for a lot of things, but yeah.
Cool. Thank you everyone for all the questions. quick pause just to say thank you for being here. Hit that like button if you're enjoying this live stream. We mentioned at the beginning of the stream, we got all your photos. We got 460 odd photo submissions for our contest this year. We will be going through those carefully and picking our favorites, and we'll probably announce that in 2 to 3 weeks or so. I want to try to get all those photos ready to go. The winners will be designed, put in a little photo book that will be available for purchase, and we're giving out to some of the winners. So yeah, we're going to do all that. So thank you for that. What else? If you haven't, leave reviews for our classes. That super helps us. We have so many classes out there that are on all types of different photography, and I just wanted to mention it because a lot of you are in our master class, which is great. That's a perfect starting point, but we have so many other classes like this new photography lighting class that Will and Sam put out. That's a great one. Will updated the wedding photography course completely from scratch, so that's a really good one. I put out this real estate photography class recently as well, and then we have some really great oldie but goodies. The street photography course with Anthony Carbajal, even our little food photography class is pretty solid. Will has been talking about updating this portrait photography class, so lots of classes here if you want to kind of expand your skills in the world of photography. And then one of the best ones is the Start Your Photography Business class. That's a really solid one if you're looking to make money from your skills that you're learning with us. So enroll in another class, support us. That would be super, super helpful. We got some more questions. Yuli asks a couple good questions. One was a quick one about favorite type of paper. Will?
I'm not a big fan of glossy. I can tell you what I don't like.
Yeah, no glossy.
Typically, when I was printing at my local shop, I print on like a luster matte. So it's not like full matte, but it's not full glossy. It's kind of in between. And then Moab paper company has a lot of a lot of the stuff paper that I've been buying. You can actually, if you're printing on your own, Moab paper will send you a sample pack, and I think it's only like $20, and it's like a bunch of different sheets of like 8x10, and you can just test all their paper. But their fine art one is really good, and their just straight matte I like a lot, and I like those because they really soak up the black inks, and I like a contrasty photo, especially with the black and whites. And the matte just has a thicker, just vibe to it. But again, it also depends on your printer. So paper is one thing, and printing is the other thing. I mean, we could go into printing. There's just so many more variables. It's like photography has a lot of variables. Like printing on paper has infinite variables. So yeah, I would say luster matte and Moab paper.
Awesome. Good question. And good answer. I have a question for everyone here. If we were going to run another workshop, maybe at the start of the year, Will has done the lighting workshop as well as the wedding workshop. If there's another workshop, or if you want us to repeat one of those workshops, let us know in the comments right now what you would be most interested in doing as sort of a month-long intensive boot camp workshop with one or a combination of us. We would be doing weekly live calls with the small group, have a dedicated Q&A space, and it would be like an intensive sort of workshop training kind of thing.
And those are really fun in the past. It's kind of fun to like just actually Zoom and interact with y'all for once a week, and where we can really dive into specific questions and have discussions, and in person interacting, like seeing faces has been good. I know a few of you are here that have taken Yuli and Brittany have been there. Obviously, like it's been very fun.
Yeah. So if there's a topic or something, let us know, and we'll try to set that up. Yuli has another question. Just in regards to seeing a lot of gigs that offer a photo and video in the same package. I see that a lot with wedding photographers. Not really sure what other kind of events or photo gigs are offering video packages as well, but I definitely see that as a thing. But coming at it from someone who has done video and photography, I don't know why people offer both services. I mean, it's competitive edge. Yeah, it gets you hired, but man, it takes a lot of effort to, I mean, you need another person doing the video. I don't think it would be easy to do both yourself. Although I don't know, are people doing that? People probably are trying to do that. Maybe not for weddings, but just for like, I don't know, like
I feel like social media reel with your kit. I pretty consistently get asked like, yeah, we need this, but it'd be great if we could also get a couple photos or a couple, just a quick 1 minute piece. My thing that I always tell them is like, my advice is to bring on a second person. I have someone I work with that would be great for that. If I do both, there will be moments that we do not have video of, and there will be moments we do not have photos of. Mm-hmm. So if that's okay, let's figure out what are the things we need photos of, and then the rest of the time I'll film. But it's a lot of work to take on, and it's yeah. At that point, you're charging so much more that it's just like bring on another person. Like if you're going to run both, you should be charging exponentially more. And it's so much better to bring on a second person. But yeah, of course, if they can pay one person cheap to do 2 different projects, like of course that's going to be good for them. But
yeah, I'd say more often,
not always realistic.
More often than not, I'm getting hired to do one, and then I'll bring someone else on, and I will direct them so that they will have my input and my style and my vibe. But like to be doing both at the same time is damn near impossible to do both well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you always miss something.
Brian has a super specific question about a friend wanting a photo that he's taken for her wiki site. What's involved in granting permission via a Creative Commons license?
I don't know. Sam might know more about this.
No? Yeah, I would say if you want, I mean, so it depends what you are wanting to protect here. If you want to just, it's your friend's wiki site and you're happy to share and support her, then
don't prosecute.
Throw it up. Yeah, you don't need to do much there. If you want, I'm not really sure how that could ever turn into something more. You could ask her to offer credit on I believe on the wiki site you could say like photo by this person. But if you want like a contractual agreement, yeah, you can create a formal contract saying that I give you the right to use this photo for this year in perpetuity, whatever it is, and you have that formal contract. But if it's a friend, I mean, that's not, Wiki it's not going to make you any money by them using that, or I don't know. I don't see a world in which that's going to like need a contract necessarily, other than you just saying that they can use it.
Yeah. I think for a friend, it's just like they can use it. It's easy enough to do. If you're working with a company, that's another thing. Or if they're printing it out, because I've seen contracts in company sides where it's like you have a year license to use it online, and then we have to renew it. Or you have a year license to print, and then we have to renew it. And that's a whole other contract thing. But usually for a friend on a wiki page or like, that kind of stuff, I don't know if it's that big of a deal outside even just an email. It says you have permission to use this online.
And I just posted a link to the creativecommons.org website that has a great page I'm just looking at on how to do this actually. And there's sites like Flickr. If you upload it, you can actually choose the Creative Commons or the license that you want to choose, and it basically then grants rights. Or even I believe if you upload to a wiki page, it kind of just becomes Creative Commons. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think that page should super help you. Check that one out. A quick question. Nancy asked if we would ever think about doing a family portrait photography class. I think we should do this. It would be a short class, but we could do some if we could get 2 or 3 different families, one could be mine.
Yeah.
And actually,
this is how Phil gets free family photos.
Yeah.
It's a class.
But this is like something that is like a great entry point for people who want to make money as a photographer, but it is intimidating to do. So to walk through like a couple setups with family with little kids and then maybe some older kids or older people in it, that would be a really cool class. I think that'd be super helpful. So we haven't really thought about doing that specifically, but I feel like it could be a specific class to do. Yeah. Let's see. What else? You guys see any other? Oh, there's this one. Nick asks about seeing a photographer shooting in broad daylight with a flash. I guess a question is, why would you do this and what settings you would use?
Shooting broad daylight with a flash. Where are the optimal settings?
I mean, it's a great way to like fill if you're doing like contrast with sunlight to just like bring in light on the front end. It definitely, to do it naturally. We did this in the course. We'll taught a whole section on this in the portrait photography class.
Oh, that section.
And yeah, we did a section of flash outside, and it definitely, like, he shows like you can do the extreme where like I was much brighter than the background, even with the sun out, and then dot it back to be more of a natural fill, just to like, you know, not have those shadows. Sort of like what Brittany was talking about with the face swap. In that moment, having a flash to have less contrast because of the lighting situation, that could be a good use of it in that case.
Yeah. Nick,
but it's
also
definitely a stylistic look, you know.
Yeah,
or can be.
Nick also mentioned that a black and white photo workshop would be cool. I agree.
Ooh.
I think you guys could both do that one.
Would that be like just editing, or would that be?
I think there would have to be a part of like
taking,
when you're taking photos with the goal of with making it black and white. What are you looking for?
Yeah, my editing
black and white setting.
Yeah, that's funny.
This is a great question. Rod asks, for someone who's hesitant to go into wedding photography, what do you say? What advice do you have?
Don't do it. Wow. That's not joking. Joking. We should be more inspiring than that.
That's too much.
You're the only one that shoots weddings, so
weddings, I'm always hit or miss on them. Like there's like 20 to 30, 20% of the work that goes behind a wedding, I despise. But the 80% is like so much fun. And it's so rewarding when the couples get the photos and they're in love, and you feel like your art is actually making someone happy versus doing commercial stuff or like no one buying your prints. Like a wedding photos is like, it's like really, really meaningful. And I think that there's a lot of like worth in that as an artist, and it's just a freaking human being. So like, if that's your goal, like that you should strive for and you should do it, knowing that there's 20% of like contracts, dealing with, mother-in-laws, drunk people, long hours, heavy equipment, walking around a lot. All that stuff is tough. As far as the fear of missing out on a moment, you're not going to be perfect in any job you do starting out anywhere. But the more you do it, the more you don't even have to think about it. You think about, I always think about hockey players, and the professional hockey players have to ice skate. You guys have all been ice skating. You think about it a lot. It's very difficult. Ice skaters, hockey players, figure skaters, they don't even think about what they're doing on the ice. They just do it. And as you do wedding photography and portrait photography, the more you do it, you stop thinking about it. Like I can go shoot a wedding now and I just do it, but I've been doing it for 15 plus years. Like I know what I need to do. I know how to talk to people. I know. So it just takes time. So if you can get over that fear and over that hump and understand that you will miss stuff as you start out, but it will get better. It's worth it. And honestly, like you can make a lot of money being a wedding photographer. And I know a lot of people say that wedding photography is saturated, but everyone brings their own perspective, and everyone is different. And so you just have to match with the couples that want to see your literal eye through your lens, because no one else is a photographer like you, like anyone.
And kind of like to the point of like joking about not wanting to be, don't go into it. People have their lifespan as a wedding photographer, and I was just talking to another guy who's like, I'm not doing it anymore. I can't, like, he has a family now, he has kids, and he doesn't want to spend the weekends going out and shooting weddings. Exactly. So it's like, yeah, it's saturated, but there's always going to be a influx and outflux of photographers willing to do it.
And Brittany's right. Being a second shooter is a great way to start, because you can miss stuff. And I mean, but honestly, I have missed stuff as a second shooter too, and it hasn't been great, but it's a good way. It's a good way to start. And I'm only shooting. I mean, like, I probably only do one a month now, if that. Whereas at my height, I was doing like 20 summer, and now I'm cut it back because
I think a huge thing, like growing up doing skateboarding videos and doing video and photography for events, for what I did 2 weddings this year, and like to learn to soften and be gentle with yourself when you miss something. Like, we're all going to miss shots. That's inevitable. That's going to happen no matter what, whether you're doing portraits, events, weddings, whatever it is,
commercials.
That's going to happen. And just, you have to accept that. And it's okay, because you're going to get the other 90% of the shots. And whether it's weddings or, I mean, just, I don't know if where you live, but if there's any sort of local carnival or local fair, or just a public place that you can go around and take photos and get used to sort of organized chaos taking place around you and capturing great moments during that time, like, that's what event photography is. That's what wedding photography is. But the benefit of a wedding is everyone looks great and everyone's wanting to look glamorous. And I mean, I was doing this shoot and I was like backlighting them with the sunset, and 2 of the bridesmaids were like, well, shouldn't we be shooting it like facing the other way so that the light's hitting our face? I was like, no. They're like, we took the photo, and then they all turned around and started taking selfies looking in the other direction, because like, well, this looks so much better. And I was like, well, cool, like, better than I do. I'm why I'm, it's like just an ego thing, but it's that's just the world we live in now, and my photos look way better than theirs, so it's fine.
Yeah, they do. You tell me, Sam.
But no, it's you gotta sort of just take the leap, I think, and have confidence, know your gear, know what those key moments are, and don't miss those. Obviously, missing that first kiss would be a huge bummer for that couple if you don't get every detail shot or every shot of every family member. Like, it's okay, but knowing that those have to get moments and being set up 10 minutes early so that you're there ready to go.
It's scary, but you could do it. Like, I tell people, I think most people are just very terrified of shooting weddings, and you shouldn't be, because you can do it. It's much easier than you think it is. And you can always add, outside the ceremony, you can ask anyone to repeat what they just did. Like, so missing stuff isn't that, it's just the ceremony. As long as you're on top of that, it's fun.
Yeah. And it's a saturated market, which means there's tons of people that are just doing it and figuring it out, right? There's not, like, you can do it. Start with friends, start with family, start with local events, get used to it, get confident in it, spend your 10,000 hours.
Take the wedding course.
Yeah. Take the wedding photography
course. Ask Will lots of
questions. All right, friends. It's been real. There were a couple great other suggestions for like a editing workshop.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Printing workshop. So what about a film workshop?
We will brainstorm that. Next time you hear from us might be later in the month. I don't know if during a live stream or just on Plus and in the Facebook group, sharing the winners of the photo contest. So thank you again for submitting there. And I posted a link to the Udemy page where you can leave reviews for the courses that you're in of ours. If you can do that right now, if you haven't done so, that would be helpful. Enroll in a new class, and stay tuned for some Black Friday deals. I'm sure there's going to be some good deals coming up in November for all of our courses.
Oh yeah, should I do a Black Friday print deal?
Yeah. Black Friday print deal. Black and white Black Friday.
Or is that Cyber Monday? Is that a thing?
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. If you didn't get an
Thanks
answer
for being
to your
here.
questions, go over to plus.photographyandfriends.com. Post it there. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a good week.